Okay, this is Quizizz.com, which is a nice little site that I've started using this academic year. It's similar to Kahoot in that you can create quizzes for students to complete. It's got one or two advantages though for certain things, which I'm hopefully going to show you now. If I go and have a look at the quizzes that I've used, you can see I've created a few over the past few months. If I go straight into my reports though, I can see the quizzes that I've done, the number of completions they've had. You can find quizzes from other users, so for example that one there was one that I just pinched off somebody else because it was near Christmas. Students wanted to do an extra quiz towards the end of the lesson, which was perfectly fine. But you can also go in and see the reports based on total quizzes. So again, you can look at the different questions. You can look at the usernames and the answers. Oops, that's gone a little bit far. You can look at the usernames and who selected what for each question. So you've got quite detailed analytics there. You can look at it, if we just close that one, you can look at it question by question, or you can look at it player by player. So you see which players got the most questions right, what time they did it, etc., etc. And you can see that for all of the players on there. So you can dig down and get a reasonable amount of feedback. Probably not quite as much as the latest Kahoot feedback, which is really detailed. You can also export as a spreadsheet though, so you can have that data there and then. We'll just have a look at the spreadsheet. So that's not too bad in terms of analytics as well. You can see all of the questions, you can see the players across the top there, and you can see the answers. Again, like Kahoot, it's colour coded, so you can see at a glance who's got the most questions right, who's got the most questions wrong, etc., etc. Okay, so you can download those. Not quite got the pages and pages of feedback that Kahoot gives you, but you can certainly see on a question by question, and for a quick assessment of who understands what, that's fairly useful. So we'll get rid of that now. If we have a look at the Quizizz, if Quizizz is a word, we can go in and we can, let's just create a new one actually. That's probably the easiest way of showing some of the features. I'm just going to set up an example quiz for now. I'm just going to make it private. We can add an image. So we're just going to add an image in there just to make it look a little bit more attractive. And we can get rid of that for now. Okay, so similar sort of fashion to Kahoot, the thing's quite similar. You do get a live preview as you type in it. Okay, so we're going to pop that in there. We're going to select a number of, oops, and we're going to mark the correct answer in just a similar way you do to Kahoot. You get a live preview for what it's going to look like on the right there. Oops, that didn't go. And okay, so we get a live preview on the right hand side of what it's going to look like. We've got the option to add an image, change the timings, etc., as we've done previously for those of you that are familiar with using Kahoot. Let's add one more question as well in a similar sort of fashion. Oops. Trying to type quickly. Okay, similar sort of thing. Oops. Again, it will reshuffle. Oops. More haste, less speed. It will shuffle during the quiz, so it doesn't really matter what order you put the questions in, or put the answers in rather. Okay, so that's the preview of what you're going to get, and we'll just change the time limit on that as well. It does allow for a lot longer time limit than some of the others. You can go up to 15 minutes. But let's just finish that and have a look at it. Now we can assign an age range. It doesn't really matter. We'll just go right. Whoops. We'll just go right from the beginning up to all, so it really doesn't matter. We'll finish and create a quiz. Oop, thought something was going to go wrong there. Okay, so here's our quiz. Now we can do this in exactly the same way. If we go play live, there are a number of options on Quizizz, a few more options than there are on Kahoot. You can jumble the questions and the answers, so you can set the questions to come in a different order, which is beneficial if you've got students working next to each other so they're not copying. Jumble the answers so they don't come in the same answer all the time. You can select whether to show the answers and a review at the end of the quiz. And like Kahoot, you get a leaderboard. Quizizz is different because it shows pictures rather than just comments in between each question, and you can choose the memes that you have for that one. So we're going to go, let's go for animal memes. They're the 3 default ones, and once we've done that, we can press proceed to get started. Now, unlike Kahoot, you don't get a live preview that you can use. So what students would need to do is go to join.quizizz.com, and they would have to search, they would have to enter that game pin. So it's got some nice features, Quizizz. The main feature that I like is that you can go back to, if we just go back to quizizz.com at the start there, and if we go into my quizzes, that example quiz is the main feature that's the best bit of Quizizz. So I've got all the settings in just the same way as I had on the one I've just played live, but I can set dates for when this has to be done by. So if I say that this quiz has got to be completed by March the 8th at 12 o'clock AM, okay, so they're saying that that's 8 days, 12 hours. So that's more than enough homework to do. I'm going to click proceed, more than enough time to do the homework rather. So all you need to do now in the homework system is share that the students need to go to join.quizizz.com, type in the game code 327261, and that will take them in, and that can be done in their own time on their own devices at home, and that you can then pick up the feedback at a later date. So that's probably the main feature of Quizizz that's better than Kahoot's. The setting up of the quiz is probably a little bit more straightforward in Kahoot, but Quizizz has certainly got its own benefits, and it's certainly worth looking at, particularly this homework feature, which is a really useful feature.